Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. And Lenny, great job. What would it be waking up and not listening to Lenny? It's like I get up, and I was a guest this morning for a while. I had not logged in, but I logged in at the end, and just a super job, everybody on the network. And I understand that tonight at 6 o'clock, it's a return to Hawaii, aloha time. And I can't wait for that. So we will be excited to hear Kevin on tonight at 6 o'clock. I think that's right. And good morning, everybody. Andrea and Clarona and Demazins and Lenny and Rotorius and Kevin Hastings and Taco and Zelmo and Carolyn and Leonie and Rochelle and everybody else out there listening on podcasts across our great nation. And how many of you are a little more excited this week than you might have been, say, last week? Because what I have been pleading for is a plan, and we finally have one. Now, we'll see what happens. But at least we have a plan. And I want to talk about that this morning. I want to talk about that, and I want to go over it with you, and I want you to call in if you can. And I want to hear from you guys. I want to actually hear from you guys, okay? Love you guys in the chat room, but I'd love to talk to you. And Zelmo's texting in. So King Hap is texting in. And Jay Bass is texting in. And Michael and everyone else. So how about giving me a call at 919-922-9093. Here's the plan. You know it. So Major League Baseball owners have submitted a plan to the union. But it calls for this revenue sharing. 50-50 split. Money. The heart of the issue. Players, will they accept it? Will they reject it? Probably reject it. Let's just plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? They also call for an expansion of playoff teams from 10 to 14, an 82-game schedule, a so-called spring training that will begin in June. Sounds like a summer training to me. A universal DH. Geographical schedules where you only play teams in your division. And interleague in a similar area. Wow. So do we keep this? I don't know. Are the divisions now going to be 3 divisions? Are we going to have 4 divisions? I don't know. We'll see, right? We'll see. So what's going to be the sticking point? Let's talk money first. You've got these players making these great salaries, and typically owners are making a lot of money or they wouldn't be owning the teams, right? I mean, you're not going to own something as a business venture that doesn't make money. And, claim losses, claim profits, whatever. We know that Major League Baseball is a cash cow. Look at all the people walking around with caps on. Some team represented, right? And you paid what? $30 for the cap. 30 times how many baseball caps? How many do you own? I own like 20. Yeah, so I got like $600 in caps. Multiply that out by every baseball fan. Wow. Talk about shirts. Talk about baseball cards. Talk about, you name it. If it's got an MLB logo on it, somebody's making some money. Right? TV revenue. I think TV revenue is still going to be big. I think the sponsors are going to sponsor because fans, look, we're hungry for it. In any shape, form, or fashion right now, we're hungry for baseball. And I just believe coming on in June or July, it says July, it's going to be a big hit. Now, I said this on my last show on Tuesday. This is a PR, public relations moment. It's a public relations moment in time. And it would be so good if we could freeze it right now, crystal ball it, and then let's see what decisions we should make. But we can't do that. Baseball can't do that. And I talked about Tuesday how the NFL and the NBA had done such a better job in recent years of marketing their product, but now baseball has the opportunity. So, what's the unemployment rate now in the United States? Isn't it like 20-some plus %? Your average Joe out working a job is struggling. Your baseball player, your owner in the major league level is not. So, how many of us have heard the saying, let's take one for the team, right? Let's take one for the country. The morale, the public sentiment that fans will have towards Major League Baseball, guys, owners, players. Let's don't make this a money thing. And I'm looking, I heard some reports yesterday. I read reports yesterday. You've read all this, that owners don't really want a season. They don't want to go on this year. And the reading I've done, at least this is newspaper writing now, okay, is the reason they threw the revenue sharing in is because they really don't think players will take it. They don't want to pay the salaries. Did you know this? I heard this, I've told you for several years now I've gone to Yankees fantasy camp and we talk to all the players, we hang around and it's just the most incredible thing. But one of the things they were talking about one day, this has been, 10 years ago at camp or maybe 15 years ago at camp, was one of the greats there had seen Alex Rodriguez's pay stub. And the discussion was, back in the day, A-Rod's withholdings on a monthly basis were like millions of dollars. Did you hear me? The withholdings. They also discussed baseball players are only paid during the regular season. So they don't get paid in January and February. They get paychecks during the season. So right now, under that theory, baseball players are not getting paid. The season starts in July, August, September. They'd get paid for 3 months. So basically, they would get half of their contract. That's what they're going to want. They're going to want to be paid pro rata what they would have been paid. Would they agree, union, to take less? I don't know. But there's always been this distrust amongst the players and the players towards the owners with a revenue sharing plan, in that players don't really believe that the owners are going to be forthright and share all information, transparency being the issue. So if the owners put the revenue sharing in and the players don't trust the owners, we don't have a season. And I think baseball may never really recover from that hit in the public eye. This is a pandemic. Have any of you guys ever lived through a pandemic before? I've not. I'll be 55 in July. There's never been a pandemic. Now, I've lived through hurricanes. I've lived through tornadoes. I've lived through the stock market going down dramatically 10 years ago. I've lived through gas prices being spiked up. I've lived through presidential regimes of people we don't like and we do like. I've been through all that. I've lived through a time as a teenager when interest rates were 18%. Yeah, some of you have too. I've been through that. But I've never lived through a pandemic where the nation was shut down. And now, our governor in North Carolina made a statement yesterday. Check this out. That public schools will be open in 2021. Next school year. I don't know about you guys, but how can you say that in May? I know, oh my gosh, Public relations, though, with baseball, the morale of our country, if they make it a dollar and cents argument, it will be catastrophic going forward for the game of baseball. That's my opinion. What's yours? 919-922-9093. Give me a call. I'll put you on the air. We'll talk about it. Because your opinion may be different than mine. It may be the same as mine. But if the owners are sabotaging the process, then we need to take them to the woodshed right now, right? Players, now the ball is in your court. How do you respond? If you're going to want full salary, I think we're not going to have baseball. Can you come up with a reduced salary plan that I would say meets in the middle? Can you imagine the uproar for players who would say, hey, I'm willing to take a pay cut. I'm willing to do it. The nation would, whoa, you're kidding me. The nation would beloved these people. I personally think when all is said and done, I think there will be a season. I think there will be compromises for this 1 year. Non-precedental, because I don't think baseball can afford for it not to happen. Now, if you'll call me, we'll talk about that. Here's another issue. This season of 82 games. How many of you guys are really interested in looking at the proposed schedule? I am dying to see it. And from a reality perspective and from a fantastic perspective, both. I drafted teams in March, and I'm already looking at waiver wires. Where can I get Ryan Braun? Because now Ryan Braun's going to be a huge benefitter from the universal DH. Don't you think? We could probably name 5 players right now who will dramatically benefit. Either they'll be the DH or they'll play more because of a DH. How about Austin Riley in Atlanta? Did you draft him? Do you think now Austin Riley is more reality and fantasy relevant? I think he is. Ryan Braun, already named. Cespedes for the Mets. J.D. Davis. And I tell you, even a player like Freddie Freeman. Freddie now can DH some. Even regular stars. Rizzo, Bryant in Chicago. Goldie in St. Louis. Aging stars who could benefit from having, and we got a call coming in, aging stars who can benefit from having that DH. And I got my main man all the way from the great nation of Hawaii. It's Kevin Hastings, who's got a show on tonight at 6 p.m. And frankly, aloha, man. I can't wait to hear it. Good morning, Kevin Hastings.
Good morning, Arnie. Aloha.
Aloha to you. So what do you think about these owners and players and this revenue sharing bull crap?
I agree with you 100%. I think the owners put out a proposal and made sure it was leaked to the media so that the blame from the public when there is not a season falls on the players.
And it's just the perfect scenario, isn't it? And here's the question, Kevin. So how do you think the Players Association now responds in kind to that, I think, ridiculous offer?
Well, I think they're going to flat out reject it. And what I have been saying for 2 months, what I wish would happen, is not going to happen. But the only way the players compromise here is if there are concessions in the next CBA, which expires after 2021. Why not hammer out an extension to the collective bargaining agreement as part of the plan to play in 2020?
I totally agree. Look at the forest and not the trees. And that is why I say this is such a huge